situation report. On Friday this week, today's Monday morning by the way, I drive 1,400 kilometers, go shoot a match the next day, and on the Sunday we're driving home. So I need to make sure my rifles are good because I don't want to waste all that time and money driving in one direction and then obviously dropping the ball. My goal is to take my 223, so today I'm pretty much just seeing if I can get the 223 dialed in, because obviously I don't have any other rifles. However, we have a backup rifle here. If there is any possibility that I don't feel 100% confident in the 223, or if it's going to be a windy day, I'm going to take the backup rifle, because obviously I don't want to waste a lot of time and money and then go messing around, right? Because if you ain't first, you're last. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna get some speeds on both rifles. I've gone out to 500 and drawn a line with spray paint over the target so I can sort of split the difference if I'm hitting high or low, just to make sure that it's hundreds. Obviously you can judge that sort of from here, but with a line you'll be able to see a little bit more. So let's get set up, get some speeds going, zero both rifles, seeing if they group. That's important. And then we'll take them out to distance after we've measured speed and stuff like that. Let's go. Right, so we're on paper. I shot a little group. It's basically at this point a 1 MOA gun. This was the group we just shot at 100. So as you guys can see, the rifle's not exactly grouping wonderfully. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I pulled the scope off the 7300 after this weekend's long range match, because obviously I want to shoot the scope on this rifle. So I'm just getting the height over bore measurement for my Strolock app here, or the Kestrel. 2.317. Okay, so let's add that into the Kestrel, and then we're gonna shoot this guy out to distance. Right, so I just put a little 5-round group with the 223 on the plate at 505 meters, so what, about 540 yards? Looks pretty good. There's one shot which was the very first one that's a little bit outside of the group, but other than that, looks pretty good. Let's see what the spreads were here. Boom. Okay, wow, extreme spread 39. That's not good, so obviously that might have been our very first one. Let's see if we can go in there. Okay, well that looks pretty good. Not gonna lie, pretty happy with that. So after checking all the numbers, I've had to calculate the axle form factor on the Hornady 4-dog Kestrel. Now basically that adjusts the numbers slightly, and now what I'm gonna do, because obviously I was hitting a little bit low on the plate, I'm probably not gonna shoot the plate. I'm gonna drive up there, show you guys that grouping before we take out the other rifle. I'm gonna adjust my number now, okay, on the axle form factor, and verify that at about 305 meters too. So without further ado, let's see if we can get a first round hit at 300 on a relatively small target, and hopefully hit in the middle, sort of height wise. I'm not too stressed about the wind. There's a little breeze coming in here, but we take all of that sort of into account when we're calculating the axial form factor. Oh, slap bang, thank you ma'am. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right, missed one. By the way, the brass catch video is coming. We're gonna do that. I did see another shooter doing that the other day, which was pretty cool. Okay, but I am stoked with that. I'm gonna lock off these turrets and then break out the other rifle, get that zeroed, get speed, and see if it's shooting the different loads that I've got in there at the moment. Okay, so I'm actually gonna drive up there really quickly, put some fresh paint on that target, and show you guys sort of the grouping we shot up there with the 223, because then I'm going to repeat that whole exercise with the other rifle, just to make sure that we do it right, you know, because the last thing you want to do is rock up at a rifle match, have a bad shoot and go like, ah man, I could have done a little bit more to make sure my stuff is good. Okay, so as you guys can see, that shot in the middle of the plate was our shot after doing the actual form factor calculation. That's a 20 centimeter plate next to it for reference. So yeah, happy with the elevation call on that. Okay, so for reference, that was our little 5-round group at 540 yards. As you can see, whoops, almost fell over into the mud. A little bit below the line, so I've adjusted 2 clicks. That should be money going forward. I'm just going to respray this bottom bit, and then I'm going to repeat this exercise with the big gun. Okay, now I know what you guys are thinking, like, Pete, why would you, like, that's money. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'll go to a match with that any day of the week. Here's the thing, I'm gonna drive super far, okay, and if the conditions are gonna be like sort of conditions like today, then yeah, I'm probably gonna run the 223. If it's gonna be windy, it makes a massive difference on the wind calls. I was running some numbers earlier. A 0.2 wind call on the 6.5, okay, is equal to a 0.9, almost a whole mole wind call with the 223. So that margin for error is nuts once you start going up with a high BC bullet that's almost double the weight. Okay, it makes a massive difference. So yeah, we'll see what the conditions hold, but let's see first what we can, if the other rifle's even shooting the ammo, because the ammo's loaded for an hour, which I had a little oopsie with after I Cerakoted with, so more on that story later. Let's go fire up the rifle. We said we're not shooting again, and we'll be shooting it again, so let's see. Okay, let's break out Alexa. Before you give me grief about why there's a mag in my gun coming out my rifle bag, so pretty much what I do is at home I visually check that my rifles are clear, and then what I do, I put the appropriate mag for each gun in the rifle so that when I get to the range I'm not left with, oh, I forgot my I forgot the correct magazine, because they do use different magazines. Have a look at this. This is sort of our headphone wrap. This makes your ear protection way more comfortable, APW branded. I'm going to link that down below. And it also looks pretty cool. Okay, so she's all zeroed up. I can feel that chambering of the rounds aren't as easy because I bumped shoulders back from 6.5 Creedmoor cases fired in a different rifle. So I'm going to take her out to distance now, 505 meters. Hopefully we can put a group down on there. I've got some Alpha Brass still that's also loaded up. And I think that was resized in this chamber, so I'm probably going to just check those at 100 meters to also take them out to distance, see if there's any variance in speed. But for a big reason why I want to shoot this gun, or what I had a lot of success with, is how smooth that action is. But if I'm going to struggle with closing the bolt the whole time because the rounds are too tight in the chamber, that's going to hamper the performance big time. I can't see where that round is, so I'm guessing it hit exactly on the black line. I kind of see where that one is. I'm just going to do 3 rounds because I don't have enough ammo here. Okay, well that round is way out of the group, which is interesting, and it hit low. So let's see what that the lab radar says why we hit low there. Yeah, okay, so the speed on the last one dropped by about 30 feet per second, so that does explain it. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna try those Alpha rounds too. Maybe I'll try them at 400 meters, shoot a group of them at 400, see what they do. Oh, immediately I can feel the difference in how they the bolt closes. I need 1.8. The blade's still swinging. I'm going to wait a bit. Wow, the difference in how these chambers is remarkable. Okay, if anything, it's hitting a little bit low. And so, crap, I never hit start on the lab, so those are a little bit low. Oh, what to do? So I'm pretty torn at the moment of what I should do. I think ideally for me it would make sense to shoot this rifle. I'll see what the group looks like down there. The problem I'm having is some of these rounds were shot in a different rifle, so when I bump the shoulders back, this chamber is obviously way tighter, and they're not really chambering well. Let me show you guys an example of that. Like, there's a little bit of effort required. So what I'm doing now is I'm pretty much running through this entire little box, and I've got some more in the car, and checking if I can get the chamber closed nicely on them. I'm going to sort them out, put the sort of super tight ones one side. That's going to work. And I'm pretty much going to just go through the whole box or all the boxes, and hopefully I have enough to verify information at the match and shoot the match. The alpha ones, I think they'll be backup, and I'll maybe use some alpha ones on the really closer targets. But classic example, that one's very stiff going in there. So we're going to put that one side. So this is kind of what happens when you last minute basically get permission. Thank you, Johan, for allowing me to run Alexa if I end up doing that. But I just want to make sure that I've done everything I can, so that if I get to the match, like, that's too tight, that's not going to work in a match scenario. I just wonder what happens when I do it again. It's better the second time, actually. So thank you, Johan, for allowing me to run this rifle if the conditions are to the extent that I need to. But for the most part, I still want to shoot the 223. Ooh, that feels butter. Ooh, almost put it in the wrong one. Anyway, I'm going to continue doing that. Then we're going to drive. By the way, I'm putting these on for in case something happens here. The rifle is pointed downrange. We're going to drive downrange to see where those hit. I obviously know I hit a little bit low at 400, but we can adjust that. That was obviously using the alpha ammo, so there was a chance, because of how they're in the chamber, that I'm getting a little bit less velocity on those. I forgot to hit go on the lab radar, but I think at 500 we shot a pretty, like, sort of good horizontal level without that last round that we know was a little bit slower than the others, and that would explain why it hit a little bit low. We're gonna go check that out, and I'm gonna continue doing this first. Okay, so that was the first group using Lapua brass that was difficult to close and sized in a different rifle. Then I went over and shot some alpha brass that had been sized from this chamber, and as you can see, the results are significantly better. This was the group we shot at 400 meters with the alpha brass. Right, so first one right on the money, as we saw through the scope, or didn't see because it was in that black line and in the middle of the plate, so super pumped with that. Second shot landed here, and then our last one, which was a little bit slower, and we saw that on the lab radar, landed here. Now I'm a little bit tempted to take the cases loaded in the Lapua brass and run them through a body die only, okay, to try and just get them to chamber a little bit easier. But for the most part, what I think I'm going to do, I have taken the speed from the alpha munition. I'm going to put that into my Kestrel. It's a little bit slower, okay, and I'm going to shoot all those out, hopefully get off to a running start at the match, and then switch it out to some of the Lapua ammo towards the end of the match. I think that's pretty much what we're gonna do. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, you can do that down here. If you want to check out my precision rifle training, where I show you all my tips and tricks how to shoot better precision rifle style, that'll be linked here, or check out some of our other match shooting up here. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.